Welcome back to the Walking Trophy podcast. Today is a tale of what it looks like when you actually fucking go for it. F-bomb in the first sentence. We are back, baby. Today is all about the theme of having freaking audacity. Because what waits on the other end of you saying, fuck my excuses? Fuck that reason that I'm deciding I'm not ready. Fuck all those thoughts that tell me I can't do this yet. What happens when you ignore those? Throw your middle finger up to your limitations and decide to step into the goddamn arena and go for it? Oh, girl, I'm feeling a little spicy right now. Can't tell by the language. You will never fully know what you are capable of or what your capacity is until you put it to the test. And is that not the entire concept of game day? You guys know this philosophy if you've been a long-time listener. If you follow body-based scaling, if you follow my work, you understand that the reason that we even set game days in our business is because we know and value what putting a stretchy goal out into the public, out into the quantum on the physical calendar does for us and for the way that we have to step up to the plate. We understand the value of a game day, but talking about a game day and actually doing a game day and then doing a game day even bigger than you thought you could possibly do before, there's a lot of power in this, my friends, and you're going to learn all about it today because I am coming fresh off of, get ready for the statement, I am coming fresh off of stop number 1 of the Global Body-Based Scaling World Tour. What? What? Yes, the global tour, the literal, not the metaphorical, the literal global domination of the body-based scaling method, the method that I created, my body of work, the legacy that I'm leaving behind. We just hit stop number 1 of a tour that is quite literally flying us around the world to facilitate this method at various events and retreats. I would say that's a pretty big deal. I would say that's a pretty big step up from what we were doing before. And so it is to nobody's surprise that after facilitating stop number 1, a lot came in. The good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. A little bit of context, a little bit of a life update. If you did not follow this on social media, maybe you're listening to this in the future. Hello, all future listeners. I just came off of a phenomenal event thrown by my creative director, the woman behind the visuals of my brand, Miss Priscilla Seitz, just hosted an event called Global Icon Live over in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And this was an entire live talk show experience for day 1. And I got to be a headline speaker at this live talk show. I got to have about a 25-minute segment speaking in front of all of the women and then doing a live facilitation, a somatic facilitation at this experience, which was so much fun. And that in and of itself was amazing. And then the following day, for all of the VIPs of this event, we ended up having a yacht mastermind day in Miami. That's a crazy sentence too. What is my life right now? We had a yacht mastermind day with a bunch of other fellow hungry, ambitious, very driven business women, founders, entrepreneurs who are on the journey of creating a reputation, of creating a legacy. If you go to Global Icon Live, it's because you want to know how to become a goddamn global icon. And if you want to be a goddamn global icon, your name must be up in lights. Your name must be something where they can say it in the industry and people know exactly who you are. If you're an icon, you're somebody people idolize, you're somebody people pedestalize, and you are somebody whose reputation precedes themselves. So this was a group full of women that all had the same goal, and it was let my body of work be known. Let me be known for my body of work. And so as a incredible aspect of this experience for all of the VIPs the day after the talk show, before we went on the yacht and had a phenomenal masterminding session, which by the way, yacht culture in Miami, unlike anything I've ever seen. It's kind of like party bus culture anywhere else but 10x that. Because when we got to this yacht, let me tell you, we were in like LA level traffic just to get the yacht out of the port and through the canals or the channels, maybe I should say. I don't know. Florida people, tell me what the right word is here to get us out into the open ocean. I mean, there were hundreds of yachts just boating their way through the water streets of Miami, which I didn't even know Miami had that little water network system. But I couldn't even believe, I thought, wow, we're renting a yacht. That's crazy. How does one find a yacht to rent? As it turns out, everybody in Miami is like into this whole yacht game. Like, what the hell? This is so different from where I'm from. I love it. It was a ton of fun. It's funny because a lot of the people renting yachts are bachelorette parties, birthdays. It was Mother's Day weekend. So, like a family celebration. Everybody's getting all litty titty. Everybody's getting their drinks. They've got all this food. And we're like, okay, we're going to have a classy little glass of champagne and we're all going to talk about the world domination of our businesses. Which, mind you, that is a way more my scene anyway. So I thought that that was a lot of fun. So anyway, what we did before we went on this incredible bougie, just such a surreal yacht mastermind experience is all of the women who were signed up for VIP got to get their physical bodies prepared for the day ahead with a body-based scaling workout. So when I say that I just facilitated stop number one at the Body Based Scaling World Tour, I mean that all of these women that attended this amazing event all the way to Florida, I don't think most of the people were even from that area. Most people flew into this event. Every single woman that decided that they wanted to do VIP, they wanted that more intimate access, they wanted the conversations, they wanted the environment with the fellow women who are really committed to that icon energy, that are really committed to the game of creating this legacy, the reputation that precedes them. They all got to gather together the morning after the talk show and the day before the yacht mastermind, or a couple hours, I should say, before the mastermind. And we got together and we did a body based scaling workout. So let me tell you, leading this experience in front of this particular group of women was truly humbling and an honor because, like I said, these are all really ambitious women. These are hungry women. These are women that know who they are at their core and they're ready to get even bigger and get even louder about it. I mean, first of all, what an honor to be in a room with women like that because you skip all the small talk. You go immediately to those deep heart led conversations. And that really is the best aspect of any in person event is the humans you get to connect with and the humans you get to meet. But then to all be collected around this common goal where nobody has to tiptoe around the fact that they want to make more money. Nobody has to tiptoe around the fact that they want to be known, that they want to speak on stages, that they want their name up in lights. Nobody has to tiptoe around their true desires and who they truly are. And I think that in and of itself was so special. So getting to facilitate in front of this group of women was so special in that way. And it was also a bit intimidating. Let's keep it honest here. We're gonna keep it a buck with you guys. It was intimidating because this is a group of high caliber, high functioning women. And of course, I know that this methodology is specifically made for this level of woman. And so it's not like I was afraid that it wouldn't be a good facilitation. It was more just I needed to hold and create the space for these women to step into where they could create a really deep body level transformation. That's my job as the facilitator of this experience. It's really not just a workout. It's not just a fun little fitness class. Is a space in which you do get to have a genuine identity ascension. You get to create an entire new level of who you are and who you show up as. And there's a lot of room that needs to be held in order to facilitate that level of change in somebody's body. And so, although it was intimidating, I didn't say intimidating was a bad thing. And so already, if you heard me say intimidating before and you were like, oh, yeah, sure, you got to step up to the plate. And maybe your connotation with intimidating was one that was a little bit negative or a little bit scary. I would like you to reframe your relationship with intimidating because maybe that in and of itself, you've already found a pattern that you want to break through. I love intimidating. I love it. Because what do you mean this environment is such a stretch for me? It's such a stretch of my capacity that I'm intimidated. I am I feel a fear. I feel a resistance around if I'm going to be good enough to show up in this space. Are you kidding me? Hell yeah. That's the feeling we chase around here. We love that. Stretch ourselves into bigger environments, force the growth, force the discomfort in order to grow. I pray for an intimidating environment because that means I'm putting myself in bigger rooms and bigger spaces. And by putting myself in these bigger spaces, my physical vessel, my container, my calibration expands with it. So if you want to expand, intimidation is almost a necessary factor. So, first lesson right there. Now, when I facilitated this experience, you guys, you guys. So, each time I have facilitated body based scaling in person, somebody at the event, multiple people typically, but at least one person has had a very significant breakthrough. The first time I facilitated body based scaling in person, one of the women that was there had a download about a block that she'd had in her throat chakra about an experience she had when she was in high school about being called a slut. If you guys hadn't listened already, go listen to the episode of The Walking Trophy with Kelly Pender. I will put it in the show notes. That's who this woman, this amazing woman is. She had this download come to her of this memory of when she was called a slut in high school, and it made her want to suppress her expression. And obviously, she's done a lot of work to overcome that. Now she does tap and twerk. She's all about self expression. But she knew that there was a piece of her that was still being held back from fully bringing forward the tap and twerk method and from facilitating this work around the world. And so she said in that body based scaling session, she had this breakthrough, she had this download where she realized that that memory had been holding power over her. But when she brought the awareness and it came out into her throat chakra, she said, oh, I can rewire my relationship with this experience and I can now use that as my power. And so she ended up writing an entire chapter of her now soon to be best-selling book as of tomorrow when this podcast goes out. And she was able to fully bring forward her in-person event at Tapator. So that was a huge, crazy, significant experience. So I'm going into this experience here in Fort Lauderdale, here in Miami, for the Global Icon Live body based scaling session, where I'm doing it at an event for the first time. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that set a really high bar. Kelly really set a high bar for how people respond to this work. And I've even gotten DMs from people online who have done a free workout of mine, which I'll also link in the show notes. And they said that they had incredible revelations and breakthroughs in their own body. It even landed me one of my stops on the Body Based Scaling World Tour as a woman did the free 30-minute workout and said, oh my God, I need to facilitate at my retreat. So this work is clearly powerful. And obviously, doing it in an environment where I'm doing it at an event for the first time, there's multiple people there. It's the biggest space I've done it in. I'm thinking, okay, the expectation, it's there. I expect somebody to have a big breakthrough and I'm going to create the space. I'm going to facilitate the space for it. And okay, like, I'm almost in the moment questioning, is something going to happen? And as soon as I noticed that doubt creep in, that fear of what if it's not as life changing as it was last time? I had to hush that voice in my head and go, hey, this experience gets to be unique. It gets to be its own and it gets to create the exact type of facilitation that I want to bring forward and that I crave bringing forward. And from a service perspective, exactly what needs to be brought forward, as long as I get out of my way and allow myself to facilitate. I'm not going to control the energy of the space. I'm not going to try to create a certain outcome. I'm just going to facilitate. I'm going to allow this to channel right through me. And I'm just going to hold the space energetically for these women to have an environment where they can make breakthroughs. So there's another lesson that I want you guys to take away right there when it comes to having the audacity, when it comes to being that bitch that brings forward your body of work and you go into these bigger spaces, you go into these bigger environments. Don't be thinking you have to control the experience based upon how it's been in the past. Always remember that your body of work is a method you're channeling through you. You are just a vessel for facilitating this method and bringing it forward. You don't need to control it. It doesn't need to show up the particular way you have in your mind. You need to trust in the universal powers. You need to trust in source that it is going to deliver the exact experience that you and the women in that space need it. And the second you try to bring in that controlling energy and you say, oh, well, I hope somebody clears their throat chakra today. I hope somebody has memory that allows them to write a chapter of a book. I hope somebody goes and hosts an in-person event now because they feel so free. The second I bring that expectation in, I am actually blocking the energy of the room. What I need to do is bring in the intention as opposed to the expectation of this is a space where the women are going to have the breakthroughs that is exactly right for them in this moment to achieve their intention from this workout because everybody sets their own intention. So when you're stepping into these higher level environments, whether that is facilitating in person, whether that is bringing forward a higher level mastermind for a higher level client, however that looks in your world, don't control the outcome. Allow your intention to be of service and allow it to be of creating the best impact for your humans as possible. And that is how the energy is going to flow. And that is how the best results are going to be created. Okay. Now, another factor of this incredible experience was the fact that we did this at a rooftop pool at this unbelievable high rise in Miami. And so this was so much fun because the environment was so beautiful. Maybe if I can post photos in the show notes, I will. Or if I can put them on the screen, I'll see how I'm able to edit this. But it was so luxurious and it felt so great being in that luxurious environment because hi, it's icon energy. We want to be around luxury. We want to be around high end. That's what we're calling in, that type of abundance, that type of energy. And so I had a familiar past pattern pop up that wanted to be felt in that moment where I said, oh, this is a public rooftop. There are humans that are here on vacation. There are humans that are residents of this building that we're doing this in. There are employees. There was also a ton of proms that weekend. And so there was a bunch of, high school aged children coming in and out of the pool and the rooftop at all times. And there were couples there. And even when we were setting up the space, people were craning their necks saying, what are those people doing over there? Why are they dressed in workout clothes? This is the pool. Everyone's normally in bikinis and sweats and cover ups. Why are they setting up these towels on the ground? Why are there goodie bags? Because we really, curated a whole experience for the women that came to this body based scaling event. Why is there a speaker? What are they doing? And so I immediately had this had this feeling come over me if you were able to audio level interpret that feeling that I just emitted, that noise. If you can interpret that into your system, you know what I'm talking about. That feeling of where I realized I was going to be perceived in this environment and I was going to stand out. I mean, I'm going to be shouting. That's part of what I do is, I'm shouting. I'm shouting motivation. I'm shouting visualizations. I'm shouting affirmations. I'm walking them through somatic immersion in the beginning and a somatic integration at the end. Like, this isn't just, all right, drop and give me 50. Okay, keep squatting, ladies. This is, deep level messaging happens during body based scaling where I'm going, okay, now, bring forward a piece of yourself that you need to overcome. This is your competitor. You're walking up in the ring. I want to hear you give your warrior cry. We're loud and we are engaging in visualization. We're engaging in, somewhat vulnerable work because you're facing your own demons. Body-based scaling is really a you versus you environment. And so I realized that if I was going to lead this experience in public, but I was going to be afraid of being perceived, or I was going to be insecure because all these people are looking around going, what the hell are they doing over there? Then the women in my space would also feel that vulnerable, insecure, or embarrassed energy. And so I had to have a talk with myself before leading this space where I told myself, I said, you can't be concerned about how strangers are going to perceive you right now. You can't be concerned about people craning their heads going, what the hell are those women doing over there? And I'm the leader. I had to step into the energy that I got really familiar with when I was a strength conditioning coach at the last gym that I worked at, where my energy that I brought forward as the coach and as a leader and the facilitator in the space, my energy was going to set the energy for everybody else. So I can bring in embarrassed, I can bring in insecure, I can bring in intimidated energy. Even though I felt it, it was uncomfortable as hell for me to be perceived by strangers. That's, a pattern that I've had all my life that I've really done a lot to have to overcome is that fear of being perceived by people I don't even know. And so I had to overcome that in myself to even facilitate in this space. And so that was an entire moment of, okay, you have to just not give a fuck what anybody else thinks here. You have to be in your power enough and certain enough in your gift and in your channeling and your facilitation that it doesn't matter if the people over there are talking about you saying that you're crazy, saying that this is absolute woo woo bullshit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks because it's not about the people perceiving it. It's about the people inside of it. And so I want you to think about how you may connect to that. Maybe it's at an in-person event where you're doing things in public that make you uncomfortable being perceived. Maybe it's online. Maybe there's that content or that think piece or that hot take that you're a little bit afraid to share because you know that strangers on the internet or that person from a high school that you really don't want to see your picture or your distant family members or those girls that you know are going to send your post in the group chat. Maybe you still have a little bit of intimidation when it comes to that type of perception of you fully showing up in your environments, whether that's online or in person, whether it's hosting your own event. I need you to think about what perception from the outside world is holding you back and how you can double down on who you are and on your mission and on your leadership in order to overcome that feeling. If you want to have the audacity, there's going to be a lot of people that don't understand the audacity, that question why you're doing what you're doing. Not everyone's going to understand you, and thank God. You shouldn't be operating at a level where most people understand you. If you're going to create 1% level change, 1% level upgrades to your life, to your business, if you're going to be a top 1%er, you cannot be afraid what the 99% think. And perception from others cannot be a driving force in what allows you to make decisions and how you move forward. So let that be known. So I had to really bring in my energy. I had to get out of my head and into my body so that I could bring this method forward. And I ended up doing a really, really great job at that, where I didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck who was watching, and I was able to create a really great space. So that was fantastic. Now, back to what I was saying before is what I actually facilitated the experience itself. I obviously had the past experiences in my head where I said, oh my God, people have had really crazy breakthroughs before. I hope it's this good. Oh my God, I really hope somebody has a big experience. But I got out of my way and I said, you're not here to create the biggest experience to inflate your own ego. You're here to facilitate the space for the other women inside. And so I did just that. Even the morning before the workout, I talked to a couple of the women and I asked them if they were having any moments from the talk show the day before where they had any revelations, where they were feeling any stickiness, where maybe they were getting a little bit of that ascension flu, if you will, where they weren't 100% feeling themselves. They might be feeling under the weather or fatigued or just a little bit off energetically. That is very common experience if you've ever been to an in-person event that really stretches your identity. You might feel some of the symptoms. And so I came into this body-based scaling facilitation knowing that I wanted to have women address where they felt expanded the day before and then where they still felt they were playing small. And then they were able to take that smallness within them, the piece of them that wanted to stay shy, the piece of them that wanted to hide themselves. And I had them look in the eyes and I had them make that their competitor throughout the entire body-based scaling event. So if you guys have never done a body-based scaling experience before, I 10 out of 10 recommend grabbing the free workout that's going to be in the show notes of this podcast episode so you have a better understanding for what I'm talking about. And then you also get to experience this facilitation. I'm going through this workout. I'm having so much fun. I'm watching the women give it their all. I mean, this workout wasn't easy. In fact, one of the women that showed up actually didn't know what body-based scaling was going into it. So she had no idea it was even going to be a workout. She just knew that she had to wear workout clothes. I think she thought it was going to be yoga. And girlfriends still showed up full force. Everybody was giving it their all. They were giving it their best. We had a great playlist. The music vibes were A1. And then I had the surprise challenge at the end, which I would never tell you guys. I have to gatekeep that because it's a surprise challenge that I like to do at my workout. So I'm never going to tell you guys what it is. You're going to have to do the workout to see. No, I don't care that you're a podcast listener. You don't get the surprise ruined for you. Go enjoy the workout. It's a very specific reason I keep this gate kept because at the end of these workouts, I have a surprise, shall we say, that you can't, I didn't want you to be able to anticipate. So we go through that surprise at the end of the workout. And then we come into the closing cool down integration, which you guys have potentially heard about if you've listened to other episodes of the Walking Trophy. But the cool down integration is very Shavasana adjacent. It's a very similar concept to Shavasana in yoga, where you take a moment of stillness and silence at the end of your movement experience in order to integrate all of the lessons and the identity ascensions that you just did during the workout session. So we're going through the cool down, which involves a lot of review and reflection of who you showed up as and how you showed up during the workout. And I noticed as I was leading it, I thought I heard like a, I thought I heard a little sniffle, but everybody's eyes are closed, including mine. So I continued and we went into our closer mantra, which I think is one of the most powerful aspects of body-based scaling. that closing mantra really, really does it for people. And I do it and my clients do it at the end of every single one of our workouts. And it is really, really powerful. Something about the specific combination of words and the way that it is facilitated and the way that you do it really penetrates you at like a core DNA level. And it's very empowering. So we go through the closing mantra. I definitely continue to hear the sniffles. And I open my eyes and I'm thanking everybody. And it's like, oh, you guys did. I'm so proud of you. And then I look directly in front of me and the amazing, amazing woman that is front and center of this workout just loses it. Girlfriend is sobbing. She is crying her eyes out. And, at first of all, we're sweaty as hell because it's like 93 degrees and like 100% humid in Florida. So at first, I didn't know, I don't want to bring attention to her in front of the whole class. And I was also really sweaty and I was debating, like, do I go up and hug her? I don't want to bring attention if she doesn't want it. Um, but everybody, you know, clued into the fact that she was crying. And so I ended up going up to her and I wrapped my sweaty little arms around this beautiful woman. And we just had a moment where she just let it all out. She just cried and cried and cried. And then another woman from the class ended up coming up and she wrapped her arms around us too. And so now it's the three of us hugging. And then another woman came up and she was hugging. And all of us were hugging and crying and laughing together. And in that moment, before I even knew what had caused her to cry, before I'd even talked to anybody about their experience, I had a deep moment of holy shit, this is what it's all about. Holy shit, this is what it's all about. It's about creating the space and facilitating the environment where it wasn't ever supposed to be easy, but you're creating the vessel that makes it possible. And maybe you need a release of something that's been stuck inside of your body. Maybe you needed a reminder of who the fuck you are and what you're capable of. Maybe you needed to face a challenge. Maybe you hadn't been challenging yourself enough. And you have a pure emotional release just from experiencing what it's like to push your edge and challenge again, because you know that's where you need to be and where you love to be. Whatever it is for the individual based upon what they need in that moment, this experience brings women together and you get to be witnessed in these breakthroughs. You get to be seen and held, literally physically held by the fellow women that understand you at a level that nobody else really does. Because when we all come together for a common goal in these spaces where it is specifically for the heart-led, icon adoring entrepreneurs, or it is for the female founders that love pushing their comfort zone, that love discovering pieces of themselves, that love what it looks like to truly see what it means to challenge themselves in their lives and come out the other side. I mean, this is a group of women that energetically, that mindset wise, that action wise, they relate to each other. And how many of you listening as a high achiever, as an entrepreneur, as a founder, know that it can feel quite isolating because not only do people not necessarily understand your industry, but they don't understand your ambition and they don't understand your hunger and your drive and they don't understand your, even though I hate this word, deluluness, where you trust and trust and trust that it's all going to work out, even when the 3D isn't showing it. It can feel so isolating and so lonely to be the person that thinks that way when everybody else around you is thinking in their logical mind. And so to create an environment where women can have these breakthroughs, can have these breakdowns, can have these aha moments, can have these to their core level ascensions and be witnessed and be held and be seen and be felt by the women around them. I mean, Jesus, it was so powerful. The energy, the room was so potent. And getting to hold this woman and getting to feel the embrace of everybody's arms around us and getting to really experience that deep connection that all of us we're going to remember that forever. There's a core memory where all of us can experience that, that loving community energy. And so it was so beautiful. And I just remember thinking, thank God I got out of my way earlier before facilitating this. Thank God I allowed myself to be the channeler of this experience and not the controller of this experience. Thank God I set the intention for them to be the ones doing the work. I don't need to be the savior. I don't need to be the hero. This isn't about me. This is about the women who experience the work and what they get to have as a takeaway. So that was so magical. And apparently, I talked to her after. She wrote the most incredible review of her experience. And she said that she'd woken up, she'd spoken on stage the day before. She became an international speaker that day. Oh, God, I love this woman. She became an international speaker the day before because she was not from the US. And then she spoke on stage. And afterwards, apparently, she got off the stage. She crushed it, by the way. I was obviously there in the audience. She did amazing. Apparently, she got off the stage, and the entire night, all that was going through her head was, "Oh, I totally messed it up. I did terrible. I don't think I'm supposed to be a speaker. Why did I quit my job to start a business? What am I doing?" And had an entire moment where she was fully met with her edge. And she had a bit of an identity crisis. And she said she woke up that morning and it was so strong. She was really struggling mentally. She was questioning herself. But then after the body based scaling event, after she saw what she was capable of and proved it on a body level and went through the mantras and went through the somatic integration and went through the affirmations and physically experienced overcoming herself, overcoming her bullshit, overcoming the version of herself that wanted to keep her small and winning over them. She said it reminded her that she was on the right path, that she had made the right decisions, and that she was exactly where she needed to be. That any limitation, any insecurity she'd been feeling prior to that did not have control over her. She was exactly where she was meant to be. The identity crisis, poof, out the window. It was no longer present in her body because she worked it out of her body. And is that not the point of this all? Is that not the point of this all? When the limitations show up in our body, it is a physical limitation. It is our mind tricking our body into thinking we can only expand so far so fast. We have a threshold. We have a ceiling that we can't cross. So when we teach our body, oh no, it is actually safe to cross this threshold. Oh no, it is actually okay for us to overcome this limitation. It's not actually a limitation. When we alchemize the fear, the anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm, the terror of whatever the next level is, when we alchemize it and transmute it out of our body and turn it into power and turn it into wins, pattern winning into our body by overcoming these limitations, we can be anybody we fucking want. There is no insecurity that can out insecure a body-based scaling workout. You can't have them anymore. You overcome them in the moment. You overcome them in the workout and it lasts. It was so magical to witness. And so that in and of itself was so life-changing and it was so beautiful to see the work come together. I was, again, just very grateful that I decided to channel instead of control the experience. So that really stuck with me. It really stuck with me in a big way where I saw how important this work was. I saw how needed it was. And I saw, okay, we're going to get deep here. Are you guys ready to get deep? Are you with me? Are you cool if we get deep here? All right, we're going to get deep. It was in that moment that I put together the pieces of the puzzle that told me this is why you're here. This is your purpose. This is your mission. Because all I've ever wanted since I got even into the fitness space when I was 19 years old, all I ever wanted was to help women feel powerful. The thing that I care about the most in this life is seeing my people win. Like relief on a friend level, on a family level, on a personal level, on a client level. I just want to see my people win. Call it the athlete in me. Call it the one that always wanted the Patriots to win, the Red Sox to win, the Celtics to win, the high school teams to win. I always love to see my people win. Nothing would fill my heart, my soul up like seeing the humans that I love win. I went the traditional route for a while. I was the personal trainer. I was the strength and conditioning coach. I used to help women, train like athletes again and feel powerful in their body. And that still means the world to me. And I still do that. I still train women like athletes. still allow them to feel the power in their body. But the work is taken on a much, much more significant depth. The work has taken itself in a direction where it's helping other women that are so mission led. It's helping other women that have a service or a body of work or something that they need to bring forward that they get to change lives with. And it's helping those women come into their power. It's like being the top of the tree. Like, I facilitate the experience that gives these women power, and then they help all their women. And then those women help all of their women. And we just create this massive branched network of women that are in their power, women that trust themselves, women that know that they come out the winner on the other side of a challenge, women that don't let their limitations run them, that don't tolerate their upper limits, but know how to move past them. It's allowing these women to create the impact on the world, because truly, power in the hands of more women is going to create not only a more emotionally intelligent world, not only a more energetically in touch world, but a world that really needs a woman's touch. Like, keep it so real with me right now. We need more of that women's touch. We need more women that are freaking phenomenal at what they do, that power in their hands that they can create change and so that they can create impact. And so, taking the moment, this woman break down crying in front of me, who doubted herself after she'd done a beautiful job the day before. She doubted herself, thought, oh my gosh, why did I quit my corporate job? Why did I get into the business world? I did the wrong thing. I would have gone down the identity spiral, but instead conquered herself, conquered her inner dialogue, and is now going to go help people with her master, master healing abilities and helping women overcome burnout and helping women find their joy in life again. Like, that's what she does. She helps women overcome burnout, avoid burnout, and find joy in their life again by her incredible healing abilities. So now that woman isn't going to quit the industry. She's going to double down and go even harder because she trusts herself even more from doing this workout. That's a woman that could have quit on herself, but instead believed in herself. That's impact. And then I saw it with the last body-based scaling workout, where the woman was able to write a book that now every woman that reads that book is going to learn the lessons that they needed to hear. She's going and leading more in-person events where her methodology is teaching women to be fully expressed. And now they're fully expressed and they can help their people, and they could be a better partner, a better mother, a better sister, a better friend. The ripple effect of helping women come into their power and those women helping their women. I mean, that right there, that's it. That's the purpose. That's the depth. That's why I'm here, is to facilitate this experience and to see my humans win. That's what it is. See my humans win so they can help their humans win. And so it came to the point where now, after facilitating this a couple times in person and knowing that this is only stop one of the body based scaling tour, and I have multiple stops scheduled, through 2026, I realized that I was not playing big enough. And this has been my integration experience after leading the event, after the Yacht Mastermind, after headline speaking at the Global Icon Live experience. My integration I had to come back with. My identity that needed to get stretched was, hey, Caitlin, you have a method, you have a message, and you have a mission that you have been given the honor of bringing forward. The universe chose you for this. Nobody else has done this. You channeled this. You created this yourself. Nobody else has this body of work. Nobody else even knows what this is because, again, you channeled it. You created it. You birthed this. No one else can do what you do. And you know what you're doing? You're playing fucking small. Yeah, that was my thoughts coming after the first stop of a global tour where I, on a rooftop in Miami, led women through workouts that made them cry and have identity ascensions. My takeaway was, hey, you're playing it small. Mm-hmm. Because look at how monumental this could be. Look at the impact you're capable of creating. How dare you not bring that forward in a bigger way? the entire experience of Global Icon Live, Body Based Scaling Tour #1, and then coming back to life after and integrating over the last couple of days, the big takeaway has been you're looking for the audacity to go big, but the real audacity is staying small. Like, what permission slip are you looking for? What permission slip do you really need to go bigger? Because right now, by playing small, you're being incredibly selfish. There's women that might quit. There's women that might stop. There's women that might not help their people to the extent that they can because they're letting their limits get in the way. They're letting their insecurities get in the way. They're letting resistance steer them off path. But your work, your body of work, could keep these women in the game, could be the reason that they create generational wealth for their family, could be the reason that they impact a generation of healers, could be the reason that they save a marriage because they know how to show up for themselves. But because you're so scared of being perceived, you're playing it small. That's very selfish. So my integration after this experience has been, okay, it's time to go bigger. It's time to recognize what I have been gifted by this universe to bring forward. It's time to accept this mission. And it's time to go balls to the walls crazy with it. Because you got one life, girlfriend. Why would you ever spend it being scared when you could spend it being impactful? If you know you have a service to provide, how selfish of you to keep that close to your chest when there's lives that need to be changed by what it is that you do. And mind you, that's a lot. That's a lot to digest. And so coming off of this event, I've been to a lot of events over the last 6 to 8 months. I've been to a lot of events. There was the first one or two I came back and I was like, wow, this is a crazy experience. Oh my God. But then the next few I came back and I was like, okay, awesome. I learned a lot. I feel great. Now let's keep moving this energy forward. I hadn't felt myself come up against an edge in a while, which is a red flag, as we all know. So after this event, realizing that I'm coming into awareness of my purpose, and I'm acknowledging that the universe has given me a mission and it's my job to complete it. It's my job to bring it forward. I came up against an edge that I hadn't experienced in a while, and it led to quite the identity crisis because I started to have a vulnerability hangover from the event. I started to question if I'd made good connections. I started to question if I had made a bad impression on people. I started to question if I, even did good at the talk show, if people even liked what I said, if I was, talking about myself too much, if I wasn't helping them see the value of the work. Like, I got so in my head, and it made me want to shrink, and it made me want to stifle my voice, and it made me not want to post on social media. It made me not want to record this podcast. It made me not want to go help my clients. Like, really wanted to keep me small because I started to get really insecure and I started to let limitations come in. And because of the work that I do and the awareness that I've built and the consciousness that I've created over the course of the last X number of years, I realized that this resistance I was feeling, this stickiness, this insecurity, was the perfect green flag sign that I was about to make a massive, massive jump in who I was. And I need you to think about that. If you find yourself in a vulnerability hangover with insecurities blazing in your ears, with limiting beliefs filling up your mind, are you going to be happy about that? Or are you going to be a little beaten down? Yeah, you're probably going to be a little beaten down by that. Nobody wants a mind full of insecurities telling them that they're not good enough. But because I know that resistance and that limitations is not a sign that I'm a failure, but it's a sign that, ooh, okay, my body wants to keep me here. That means I'm on my edge. That means I've reached the edge of this capacity. That means that as long as I get through this, I'm about to level up. This means growth. If I'm uncomfortable, that means that that can only mean growth on the other side of this. So now I have a choice. Am I going to quit? Am I going to back down because the insecurities are too loud in my head? Or am I going to say, yes, I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling insecure. I hear my limitations. This is the best. This means I just need to keep doubling down on everything that I'm doing. And once I get to the other side, it means that I get to win this experience. I get to level up and I get to show up as an even greater version of myself moving forward because I didn't let it deter me. I let it motivate me. Yeah, exactly. Because that's what I've trained into my body. I know that when my body feels the "Ugh" feeling, it means that my massive growth is on the other side of that feeling. I just talked about this in my podcast the other day. Go listen to the last episode before this one. Right where everybody else stops is where you double down and go harder. And that's the point that I reached when I came back from this event. I was, I was in my feels. I was questioning if I was good at what I did. And I said, oh, amazing. Okay, good. That's just the demons trying to get in my mind. And as long as I don't let them cloud my judgment and I keep doubling down on everything that I'm great at, and I allow those actions to prevail, that's how I get to the other side of this challenge. And that's exactly what we've been doing since we came back from this event. And yes, it was rough. It didn't feel good. And I had faith and certainty that as long as I continued forward, I would get to the other side and I would become an even more leveled up version of myself. And now, tomorrow, I leave for for the next event. I leave for Body Me Scaling World Tour stop number 2 tomorrow, which means that I'm about to do another live body based scaling event in front of an entirely new group of women before none of the women going to this event have done body based scaling before. So it gets to be new to all of them. And I can't wait for all of the revelations and identity ascensions and edges that I'm going to meet from this experience. I mean, it's crazy. What a crazy little world that we've created and that we're living in right now. So that was amazing. It was really amazing. The entire experience was incredible. Took away so much. There were so many moments, like I said, being my own permission slip, not worrying about being perceived by others, thinking and reshaping my relationship with intimidation as the best thing for me. I mean, there's so many takeaways and so many integrations from this experience. I feel like a completely up-leveled new identity woman. And I hope you guys were able to get some great takeaways from this episode. I hope you were able to, maybe relate this to you in the various ways that it resonated. Maybe you are going to be able to take some of those upper limits and kick their behind, take some of those insecurities, thank them for existing and overcome them anyway. Maybe this is where you guys become your own permission slip. Maybe this is where you guys come into your own body of work where you thank the universe for blessing you with the methodology that you know is going to change lives and a body of work that you care about so much. And I'm so appreciative for you guys being here for this episode and listening to this. I actually have an insane story that I will share for a whole separate podcast episode about the night that I came back from the event and what happened cosmically for me. That's a hint if you guys know anything about my story from May of last year. May seems to be a big month for me and the galaxy, if you will. So I have a very fun story that I'm teasing you guys with right now, but I will have to tell you after I come back from this next experience in Toronto at Body Based Scaling World Tour stop number 2. Remember that you can get a replay of Body Based Scaling for free in the show notes. I 10 out of 10 recommend that you do that workout and that you have your own identity ascension. You have your own aha moment. You have your own breakthrough, maybe breakdown that creates the breakthrough. And don't forget that when you do that experience, please come into my DMs after and tell me how it went. I want to hear what you took away from this experience and in what ways you're growing. Nothing in the world makes me happier than getting a message from your takeaways from this experience and the ways that you were able to expand and grow yourself, the way that you were able to up-level yourself, and the way that you were able to overcome yourself, your limitations, and step into your winning self. So don't be shy. Come into my DMs, you guys. And I just love y'all. I'll see you for the next episode.